Hello, everybody. Okay, we're gonna get started in a couple of minutes, a couple seconds, I should say. Okay, and here we go. Welcome, everybody, and it's great to be back outside. And I thought that since we're outside, and it's a really nice day outside, it's sort of the end of the day here in Eretz Yisrael. I thought it would be a nice idea to tell you a little about where I live. I thought maybe you'd enjoy hearing about where I live. And before we get to our story, just so you'll know, where is it exactly that I'm standing? So I live in a very special place called Eretz Yisrael. And some of you might also get to live in Eretz Yisrael. Some of you might live far away from Eretz Yisrael, and some of you might have gotten to visit Eretz Yisrael in the past. But I live here in Eretz Yisrael. And in Eretz Yisrael, there are a lot of different cities and towns. My town is called a yishuv. A yishuv is like a small little town, and my town is really at one end of Eretz Yisrael. If you would look at a map, and maybe one day we'll go look at the map of Eretz Yisrael. But if you look at a map of Eretz Yisrael, there's two sides. On this side, there's the Yam HaGadol, the Mediterranean Sea. And on this side, there's Jordan. I live on the side right by Jordan. In fact, over there, if you look really far out, you can see Jordan. Right? You could see outside of Eretz Yisrael. That's where I live. And the town, the yishuv that I live in, it's called Mitzpeh Yericho. Let's see if you can try to say that. Mitzpeh Yericho. Okay, can everybody say that? I didn't hear you, but maybe because I'm so far away. Okay, so Mitzpeh Yericho is this yishuv, and the reason why it's called Mitzpeh Yericho, Mitzpeh means the lookout. It means the place where you look out from. You see it from, you can stand and look out on something else. The mitzvah, you can look out. So if you stand here and you look out over there, you see a really amazing town called Yericho. Yericho in English is called Jericho. Okay, and that's the city over there. We learn about Yericho in Tanakh. We learn about it when we learn Torah. We learn about it with Yehoshua. We learn about the city of Yericho. So our town, our yishuv, is built right outside of Yericho. Now, how old is our town? Some towns in Eretz Yisrael are so old, really old. We're talking not 100 years old, not 200 years old, more than 1,000 years old. Some towns here are 3,000 years old, maybe 4,000, 5,000. In Yericho, they say their city is 12,000 years old. 12,000. I don't know if it's true, but they have a sign that says that their town is 12,000 years old. Well, this is Mitzvah Yericho. We look out on Yericho, and our town isn't 12,000 years old. It's not 1,000 years old. It's not even 100 years old. Our town is 43 years old. That's it. 43 years. It's before we came here. Do you see how there's mountains over here? You can see a couple of houses. But before we came here, there were no houses on these mountains. And there were never houses on these mountains. Never, ever houses on these mountains before. It was empty. Forever. A person never walked here unless maybe they got lost on the way to Yericho. And Yericho is a very special city because we learn about Yericho all throughout Tanakh. It's such a historical place. It means it has a lot of history. A lot of things happened there. So many things happened in Yericho. It's an incredible place. And in Yericho, when we came to Eretz Yisrael with Yehoshua for the first time, when we came to Eretz Yisrael, Yehoshua sent spies. Maybe one day we'll tell this story. He sent spies to look at Eretz Yisrael. And the first place they came to was Yericho. And later on, the first place Bnei Yisrael came to, when they came to Eretz Yisrael with Yehoshua, the first time the Jewish people came to the land of Israel, Yehoshua, in English Joshua, brought them to Yericho. Isn't that incredible? Right over there. So when the Jews first came in, well, you learn about it sometimes in class, but now you get to see it right here. That town right there in the valley, that is Yericho. Amazing, right? And we get to look every time when I come out of the room yesterday that we were telling the story in, and I come out of my room where I study Torah, and I walk out, and guess what I see? The city of Yericho, right where everything started in Eretz Yisrael. Pretty amazing. Okay, now I want to get to tell you our story today. And our story today is a great story. And it has in it somebody we learned about before. But this is a story. I have to tell you, I have a son. One day maybe I'll bring him in. And his name is Moshe. And the last couple of days, I told Moshe the story that we told together. And Moshe says, but I already knew that story. So today I said, I know I've got to find a story that he doesn't know. This is a story that's an amazing story. It's in the Gemara, like we talked about the last couple of days. A lot of our stories come from the Gemara. And this one's also about the Gemara. And it talks about somebody who we learned about before. His name is Rebbe Akiva. But this story is not really about Rebbe Akiva. It's really about Rebbe Akiva's daughter. When Rebbe Akiva's daughter was born, came up to Rebbe Akiva. And he said to Rebbe Akiva, Rebbe Akiva, I can tell you the future. And Rebbe Akiva said, listen, I don't really believe that. And that person said, listen, I tell people the future all the time. I have a way of knowing what's going to happen. And Rebbe Akiva said, nope, I don't believe you. He said, it's the truth. I can tell you, I look up at the stars, and I look at the different ways the stars are lined up in the sky, and I can tell you what's going to happen. Rebbe Akiva says, nope, don't believe you. So the person said, well, you're going to want to hear what I have to say. And he said, nope, I don't even want to hear. He says, nope, I'm going to tell you because you're going to want to hear. You know the daughter that you just had? Rebbe Akiva said, of course, I love my baby daughter. She's so cute, and she makes such funny noises, and I can tickle her. And he says, well, that daughter, she's going to have a wedding day. She's going to get married. And Rebbe Akiva said, I can't wait. I mean, I can wait. It's going to be a long time, but I'm very excited for that day. He said, you shouldn't be. He said, what do you mean? He said, your daughter, on the day that she gets married, your daughter is going to get bit by a snake and die. Rebbe Akiva said, what? Why would you say that? And he says, that's what I saw in the future. I looked up in the stars. I saw how the stars were lined up. And it said, your daughter that was born to you just now is going to die on her wedding day because she's going to get bit by a snake. And Rebbe Akiva said, that's horrible that you would say that. Who says that to somebody with a brand new daughter? He said, listen, I want you to know, because if you don't know, it's going to come as an awful shock to you. Well, Rebbe Akiva was very disturbed by this. You can imagine to hear that your daughter is going to die on her wedding day and get bit by a poisonous snake. That's very upsetting. That is very scary, and that can get you very sad, obviously. And every time Rebbe Akiva would look at his daughter, when she got her siddur at her siddur play, and when she got her chumash at her chumash play, and when she got her tehillim at her tehillim play, I don't know if there's such a thing as a tehillim play, but let's imagine that there was for Rebbe Akiva's daughter. Rebbe Akiva would be so happy. Now, they didn't take pictures then, because there was no cameras. This was 2,000 years ago. But if there were pictures, they'd all stand around and everybody would be smiling. But Rebbe Akiva was always very nervous. Rebbe Akiva was always very, very nervous because he would look at his daughter and everybody would say, Mazel Tov! She should grow up to be a beautiful Kala. And Rebbe Akiva would shake. People would look at him, why are you shaking? He would shake. He'd say, beautiful Kala. So on their wedding day, oh, what that man told me. But Rebbe Akiva would teach his students all the time. He would say, Ein Mazel Yisrael. Ein Mazel Yisrael. He'd say, the stars don't control what happens to us. It's not true. But still, Rebbe Akiva was nervous because he couldn't help himself but be nervous. Well, his daughter got older and she had a beautiful bat mitzvah. Not that the party was so special, because that's not what makes you a beautiful bat mitzvah girl. It was that she wanted to do the mitzvot. And she was very excited to do the mitzvot. And she was very excited to finally be a bat mitzvah. And Rebbe Akiva and his wife, they had such a big party for her. And they were so excited that she was going to be a bat mitzvah girl, and they're very excited. And then she got older, and she went from one school to the next school, and she studied, and she was such a good girl. She would do so many mitzvot. It was no surprise. Rebbe Akiva and his wife Rachel, they were very special people. So of course they did such great mitzvot. And of course their daughter was somebody that was so very special. Of course. How could they not be? And then one day she came to her father and she said, Abba, Dad, I think I want to get married. And Rebbe Akiva said, okay, who do you want to get married to? And she said, well, I don't really know anybody to get married to, but I'd like to get married. So Rebbe Akiva says, okay. And he went to the Beit Midrash and he looked for a boy who studied a lot of Torah, a boy who was very respectful to his teachers, and a boy who was very respectful to the other boys that were studying Torah, and he dressed nice, and he looked nice, and Rebbe Akiva said, that boy is going to be the boy that's going to marry my daughter. And he found a great chatan, a great chassan, a great groom for his daughter, and they met, and his daughter said, Abba, he's wonderful. That's who I want to marry. That's who I want to marry. And the father said, okay, great. But in the back of Rebbe Akiva's mind, he was thinking, oh no, we're getting closer to her wedding day. We're going to get closer to her wedding day. And what's going to happen? Maybe that man so many years ago, 18 years ago, was right. Maybe she really is going to get bit by a poisonous snake. Oh, I don't know. Well, they made plans for a beautiful wedding. They got Rebbe Akiva's daughter a nice dress, and Rebbe Akiva wanted to get his daughter a nice gift. Wanted to get her a nice gift for her wedding. Something special that she could have for her wedding that would be very, very special, just as a gift from a father to his daughter. So he got her a special pin that she could wear on her wedding day. A special pin, a beautiful pin. It was a pin, so it had a sharp edge to it, because it was a pin. So Rebbe Akiva takes his daughter aside on the week before she's going to get married, and he has the special pin, and he says to his daughter, I want to talk to you before you get married. I'm so happy that you're going to get married. I'm also sad that you're going to leave our house, but I'm happy that you're going to get married, and I'm happy that you're happy, and I know that you're happy that I'm happy, and everybody's happy because it's a wedding, and everybody gets happy at a wedding, and I'm so happy, and I want you to know I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, because you're such a great mitzvah girl, and you're such a great girl, you're such a great daughter, and you're going to be such a great wife, and I'm so, so excited for you, and I got you a special gift. So his daughter said, Abba, gift? You're making me a beautiful wedding, you got me a beautiful dress, you don't have to get me a gift. And Rebbe Akiva said, I wanted you to have this. I wanted you to have this just as a gift from me. And he gave her the special pin. She took out the pin, and she said, Abba, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for getting me this pin. And Rebbe Akiva said, of course. And he gave her the pin, and she took it, and she put it in a special place in her room, and it came the day of her wedding. And this is a very special day for a kala, for a bride. The day of her wedding, she's waited her whole life for this day. And Rebbe Akiva's very nervous. The whole night before, he didn't sleep. He was so nervous because of what that man said. He said to Rebbe Akiva, he said that when your daughter gets married, the day that she's going to get married, she's going to get bit by a poisonous snake. And early in the morning, Rebbe Akiva runs into her room, throws open the door, and his daughter wakes up and says, Abba, what's the matter? And he says, is there a snake in here? And she says, a snake? Abba, what are you talking about, a snake? There's no snake in here. He says, are you sure? And he grabs her dress out of the closet and checks the dress to make sure there's no snakes inside. She said, Abba, are you feeling okay? And he says, yeah, I'm just making sure there's no snakes. Abba, we never had a snake in our house. What are you talking about, snakes? No one has snakes, and there's no snakes in our house. So he says, I just want to make sure. Just want to be 100% sure there's no snakes. And he looks under the books, and he looks under other clothes. He opens up her drawers, everything, and there's no snakes. And he says, Abba, very strange. You're acting very... Are you nervous because I'm getting married today? And Rebbe Akiva takes a deep breath, and he realizes he doesn't want his daughter to get scared. He says, yeah, that must be it. It must be I'm just nervous. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you upset. I'll go out now. She goes out. She says, wow, my Abba's acting strange. So she gets dressed and she davens and she says, you know what I'm going to wear today? I'm going to wear my special pin that my Abba got me. So she puts it on. She goes out of her room. And then everybody's so excited. There's a lot of activity in the house. People are coming and going. They're dropping off gifts. They're coming to see if they can help. And the girl that does the makeup comes and does her makeup. Everyone's there's so much happening on the day of the wedding. And now it's time for her to get changed so she can go over to the wedding hall. And she takes out her pin. And she doesn't want to put it down because she's scared she's going to forget it. So she does something a little strange. The pin is very sharp. She sticks it in the wall. Okay? She sticks it in the wall, no problem. And then she comes to sit down and eat lunch. And the whole house clears out to give her some time to think. And she's sitting down to eat lunch, and there's a knock on the door. And there's a poor man at the door. His clothes are ripped. He doesn't really have anything. And he says, he doesn't know it's her wedding day. And he says, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I haven't eaten anything in 2 days. And she looks around, and there's no food. Everybody took everything out of the house. They're not going to be in the house for a little while. And she realizes she only has her food. She says, this man hasn't eaten. And she gives him his plate. Her plate. And she gives him her plate. And she says, oh, I just made an extra plate in case somebody came. So he wouldn't feel bad. Gives him the plate. He sits down. He eats her lunch. And it's her wedding day. And she's not going to have lunch. And he leaves. Nobody knew. Nobody saw. That was it. She goes to her room to put on her wedding gown, and she's so excited, and she puts on her wedding gown, and she looks beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And as she's getting dressed, there's a knock on her bedroom door, and it's her Abba. It's Rebbe Akiva himself. And she says, Abba, and he says, you look beautiful. And he says, don't forget the pin I give you. And she pulls the pin out of the wall, and it doesn't come out right away. So she gives it a big yank, and out of the pin, on the top of the pin, is a snake. The snake and the pinhead, the pin part, the sharp part, when she put it in the wall, there was a snake there that went right through the head of the snake and killed the poisonous snake, and she pulls it out. And Rikiva says, a snake! And she says, there's a snake! There's a snake! A snake! And she says, it's okay. It's dead. Oh, it's dead. It's dead. Rikiva remembers what the man said. The man said there was going to be a poisonous snake that was going to bite her, and here's a snake. And he says to her, he says, tell me, my daughter, my lovely daughter, did you do a special mitzvah that saved you from this poisonous snake? And she didn't want to say because she was so tzanua. She didn't want to tell her Abba that she did a special mitzvah, but she couldn't lie to her Abba. She says, actually, Abba, before, and everybody left me alone to eat my lunch in the house, there was a man that came, and he had nothing to eat for 2 days, and I gave him my food so that he would have it. And Akiva says, that was what gave you the schus, the merit, that gave you the reward from Hashem to be saved from the poisonous snake. And he tells her about how this man, when she was born, told him that she was going to die on her wedding day, and that's why he came in that morning to look for the snake, because he was so scared. And he says, do you see, this is what I've taught my students my whole life, and I taught you. If you give tzedakah, tzedakah tatzil memavet. Tzedakah saves you from dying. Today, on your wedding day, you had every reason not to answer the door. And you had every reason not to help that man that said he hadn't eaten. But you are such a tzaddikas, you're such a good girl, that you couldn't not do it. You couldn't not help him. So, when he came to the door and knocked on the door, you gave him your plate of food. And you didn't know, but that mitzvah saved your life. And that's a lesson that Rabbi Akiva would always tell all of his students, and he told his children, that when something is happening, and something bad is happening, and something scares us, we should give tzedakah, because tzedakah saves us from everything. And today, a lot of people around the world are getting sick. And we're always looking, what's a mitzvah I can do? What special mitzvah can I do? And you know what mitzvah you can do? You can do the mitzvah of tzedakah. You could ask, if you have some of your a little bit of your own money you can give, or you can ask your mom or your dad or your abba or your ima, and you can say, can I give just a coin, one little coin to tzedakah today? And that could be your mitzvah, because tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Isn't that an amazing story? Now, I don't want to end right now. I want to tell you guys something. I want to show you something. I thought we'd add a little to our everyday getting together besides just me telling a story. Before I showed you Mitzvah Yericho and the town that I live in, now I want to show you something special. It's something special that I wear every single day. I wear this. I wear it every single day. It's not my tzitzis. It's not my kippah. It's not my shirt. It's my watch. And I want to show you my special watch. My watch is very, very special. It's special for a couple of reasons. First, I want to show you up close. I'm going to come up close here and show you what's so special. Do you see what's so special about my watch? My watch doesn't have numbers on it. My watch has letters. And they're not English letters. They're not Chinese letters. They're Hebrew letters. And this watch is so special because it has not letters. And the letters each are Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Yud, Tet, Yud, Yud Aleph, and Yud Bet. Just like, I think it might be a little backwards in our screen maybe, but just because those are like when it says Aleph, that's 1 o'clock. When it says Beis, that's 2 o'clock. Gimel, 3 o'clock. And this is a special watch, but it's not just special because it has Hebrew letters on it. This watch is very special to me because this watch I didn't buy in a store. And this watch I didn't get as a gift from somebody. And I didn't find it on the street and pick it up. This gift belonged to my grandfather, to my Zaidi, to my Saba. I don't know what you call your grandfather. Maybe you call your grandfather Opa. So everybody has a different name for their grandfather. My grandfather, I called him Grandpa. And he was my father's father. He was a very special man. He was a chazan. And he had a beautiful voice. And he also blew the shofar on Rosh Hashanah for his shul. And he was the president of his shul. And he gave a lot of tzedakah. And he was a very, very special man. And I would go to his house all the time. And him and my grandmother, they would give me candy, and they came from a faraway place. They came from a place called Poland. And for them, they didn't have anything when they came back from Poland, and they moved from Poland to America. They had nothing. And my grandfather saved up. He had a job, and he saved up and wanted to buy himself something special. And when he went to Eretz Yisrael once, he saw in a store this very watch. And he bought this watch for himself. And I have this watch now that was his. And every single day in the morning, I put it on. And every single time that something maybe gets me a little sad, or sometimes I don't know what the future is going to be, and I'm a little nervous, I play with my watch. And I remember that sometimes my grandfather also was scared. And sometimes he also worried. But he got to do a lot of great things. And one of the things that he got to do was buy this special watch. And for him, it was very special because it had Hebrew letters on it. And it reminded him of his trips here to Eretz Yisrael. And then sometimes when I come out on this porch, and I come out and I look at where I get to live, and I look at my beautiful children, and I look at my family, and I think to myself, wow, my grandfather, if he could see me now, he'd be so proud. And if he saw me teaching you today, he would be even more proud. He'd be so proud that his grandson gets to live in Israel and teaches Torah to people all over the world. So every day I put on this watch. I'll show it to you again because I really, really like this watch and I want you to see it and I want to share it with you so that you get to see it as well. And every day I wear this watch. And I think it would be wonderful if every single day when we got together to study Torah together, I showed you something wonderful that I have that teaches us a lesson. This watch teaches me a lesson that we should be thankful and we should appreciate. That's a big word, to appreciate. It means we should realize how special the things we have in life are. And that's the lesson that I have from my watch that I wear that was once my grandfather's watch. And maybe you have something special also in your house that you like to show people. Now, I want to do one more thing before we end today. Okay, one more very, very special thing. I want to bring somebody into our video. I want to bring a special guest. I have 6 children. Abigail, Tamima, Gila, Naomi, Tova, and Moshe. Those are my 6 children. And today, I'm going to bring Gila, who's here. Gila is 17. It was just her birthday on Tanit Esther, right before Purim. And Gila is my daughter. I love Gila so much. I love all my children. But Gila's here, and I asked Gila if she would come in today. And I thought maybe you'd want to meet one of my children. And I thought, Gila, would you come into my class? And Gila said yes. And Gila's a beautiful girl, and she's a bat mitzvah, and she does all these wonderful mitzvot, and she helps so many people here in our community also. And I thought it'd be wonderful. And maybe Gila has a question that she wants to ask. Gila, do you have a question that you want to ask?
Yeah, I wanted to know why we don't have school anymore. I really miss my friends and my teachers, and I really want to go back to school.
That's a good question. I'm sure many of you have that same question. Gila wants to know why she doesn't have to go to school anymore, why she doesn't get to go to school, and why she doesn't get to see her friends. Because even if she doesn't go to school, Gila, are you allowed to invite your friends over? No, she's not allowed to invite her friends over anymore. That's not my rule. That's the rule because we don't want to get sick. And so we don't get together with a lot of people. And Gila, are you a little sad sometimes that your friends don't come over?
Yeah, I miss them.
That is very sad, right? Because she misses her friends. But Gila, don't worry. Soon, this sickness is not going to be for so long. Maybe it'll be a week, maybe it'll be a month, maybe 2 months. But it's not going to be forever. And soon you'll get to go back to school. Maybe sometimes it won't be this year. Maybe it'll only be next year. But you're going to get to go back to school. And you're going to see your friends. And you don't have to worry. Okay? Okay, and anybody else, if you're also worried about that, you also don't have to worry. Because soon we're going to get to see our friends again. And soon things are going to be better. They're going to be just like they were. Now, a lot of times we get nervous and we get scared. Maybe things are never going to be the same. But that's not true. Things will get better. Things are going to be back to the same. We're going to get to play with our friends. We're going to get to go to school. We're even going to have homework again, Gila. I know.
No.
Yup, you're going to have homework, and your parents are going to make you do your homework and study for your tests.
No.
Yup, but still there's going to be something fun. Now, here's what I would like to do. I would like to ask you guys, everybody watching, if you want, and maybe we'll play it on the show one day, if you would like to send a video, if you have a question, maybe you have a question about something that's going on in your life, or maybe you have a question about Mitzvah Yericho, where we live, or about one of the stories that we told, or something about that my watch, or something like that you want to ask a question about. You can ask your parents to take a video of you with their phone or with your computer. It shouldn't be so long, but send it, and then they can send it to me. Right here through Facebook. They could send it to me, and I'll watch the video, and maybe I'll pick one person and show their video on our show tomorrow. And then we can answer their question. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah, that's so cool.
That would be great. But you have to say your name, and you have to say where you're from, and then you can make a video. Or you can make a video maybe with your brother or your sister or your whole family, and you could do that. And that would be so much fun. Would that be great, Gila?
Yeah, that's so cool. I want to send a video in.
Well, I don't think Gila can send the video in because she got to come on the show herself. Okay, everybody, that's going to be it for today. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I hope you'll join us. Bye-bye. Shalom to all.